Welcome back to the Jay Rovato Show. And do we have a show for you today? Do we? Of course we do. And on today's episode, we have Scott Jennings bringing the truth as always. I told you I have a daily dose of common sense with Scott Jennings on the Jay Rovato Show, and that's what we do have. Now, today we have Scott Jennings talking about how the Minneapolis, Minnesota shooting was justified through the eyes of the law. Well, if you have a firearm and an ICE agent or a federal officer or the police himself asks you to put the weapon down and you refuse, well then, that may be a fatal decision. Let's go ahead and watch the video. I'm so excited to see Scott Jennings talk about this topic. Roll it.
Efforts and wants to change the narrative. How do you see it?
Well, I'd be frustrated, too, if I were faced with this wall of propaganda every single day, and if I were faced with these recalcitrant Democrats in Minnesota who simply won't cooperate with the federal government. All over this country, states and cities all over the country, you have cooperation going on between the locals and the federal government. You don't see any chaos. You see very orderly transitions of illegal aliens into federal custody. They go into deportation. It works just fine. The only difference in Minnesota is you have Walz and Fry and Flanagan and the rest of these local Democrats who don't want to cooperate. They think that Minnesota somehow should exist in, I guess, some state of secession where federal laws don't apply to people inside the state of Minnesota. It is causing chaos, and if I were the president, I would be frustrated about that too because, you know, narratives aside, he's the chief law enforcement officer of the United States.
Most definitely. See, he has 50 states to look over, like Scott is about to say. The problem that we're having in Minnesota, Minneapolis is leadership. Leadership is now fighting the president because, of course, Tim Walz is a sore loser. Tim Walz is mad and upset that he lost, and he can't give it up, even though he should be in jail for the scheme that was run in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
And he has to enforce the law in all 50 states.
Can I just say, trying to tell people that the images that they're seeing on camera is a wall of propaganda is not a winning strategy. People can see with their own eyes. ICE engaging.
You're saying images aren't used for propaganda?
ICE engaging in behavior. We've all seen the footage of the ICE agent shooting the mother in the head 2 weeks ago. That is the backdrop behind which people are filtering in information
and
about
we saw her
ICE.
hit him with the car as well.
Actually, we did not.
We did.
If you watch the video,
we did see it.
But you also had.
That's what I'm talking about. You can't even admit she hit him with the car.
Scott Jennings, will you let me finish my sentence? I let you finish yours. You also had, after that event, you had the Vice President of the United States go out and fully embrace the actions of the ICE agent. So I would argue, and if anybody is eroding the credibility of ICE, it's the Trump administration by throwing their arms around every single,
why won't they cooperate?
Every single errant and awful action that we're seeing from these people. So again, I think, for Trump to say that his message is being lost when he and his administration are encouraging ICE to behave in a way that is clearly outside of the existing.
What I've seen from ICE so far is lawful actions, detainment, and protecting the citizens of the United States of America and the ones in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The problem, once again, would be the leadership. The mayor, Fry, and Tim Walz. Tim Walz has a big problem with Donald Trump and the administration. So therefore, he acts in temper tantrum form. He throws temper tantrums and lashes out. That's the problem that we're having with Tim Walz. That's the problem that we're going to continue to have with the liberals or the left because of their TDS. They can't shake it. They can't get away from it. But somehow, some way, justice will prevail.
Rules of engagement is absolutely ludicrous.
Why
and
won't
it's
they cooperate?
And it is dangerous.
Why won't the Democrats cooperate? Why won't they
From the
cooperate?
Trump administration's perspective, he ran on the.
No, we're asking why won't they cooperate? Because all we're asking for them to do is tell their left-hand lunatics to pipe down with the rhetoric, stop the violence, and just follow the directions of the ICE agents so they can continue to protect you. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem, once again, is leadership.
Largest deportation action in American history, and that is what he is doing. But and a sign of the politics may be changing. Democrats a year ago were completely on the defensive when it came to immigration. You are seeing that Democrats now feel very emboldened. You even have moderates like Rahm Emanuel saying that we need to end ICE as we know it. You have lots of moderate Democrats criticizing the actions of ICE in a way they weren't willing to do. And I think the polls reflect that American voters, while they support, in theory, deportations, especially of criminals, they do not support the way that ICE is going about these actions right now.
So how does he suspect that or suggest that ICE does that? When you have violent criminals and they're all around the place, they're all throughout the city, throughout the state, what are you supposed to do? Today you've seen a violent action against an ICE agent. If that happens, would you rather the ICE agent lose his life? Roll it.
New York Times Siena poll was 63% of people disapprove.
I just have to ask, if the local Democrats in Minnesota would cooperate the way they do in virtually every other place in America, you would have orderly transitions of illegal aliens from jails into custody, and they won't do it. Why?
That's simply not true. You have ICE going out. You have ICE going out trying to pick up people who, by the accounts at least of his attorney, does not have a criminal record. This is outside.
Have she seen any of the raids? Has she seen any of the protests? Has she seen any of the violent protests in a peaceful protesting setting?
Of what Trump said he was going to do
with his enforcement.
Illegally. He's not. Well, if he came through, if he came through and applied through the CBP-1 app for asylum, he is not in the country illegally. That is not how the law works.
That's not how DHS sees it.
So to have ICE agents going out to try to pick up this man from his home, that is overstepping both what Donald Trump said he was going to do with his immigration efforts and also the law.
But they're not cooperating even on the most violent people. You have the jails there. They're letting violent illegal aliens back out into the community. That's why you have to have such a huge ICE presence. So they have to pick them up on the streets.
That's why ICE
as opposed to getting them in the jail.
Yes, that's why ICE has to go out in such mass numbers. Yes, ma'am. You have to break it down to her like she's a third grader, second grader, or first grader. Maybe she understands 6, 7.
Why ICE has to go after people without criminal records?
That's not necessarily. I've been with ICE. I've gone out, and this was 10 years ago. I went on a ride along with them, and they went in the dark of night, and they did a targeted operation based on the intelligence to try to find different people who were here illegally who had criminal records. Every person we've spoken to who has worked at ICE, Republican, Democrat, has said what you're seeing in Minnesota is different for a couple of reasons, right? A much larger presence. They're doing sweeps rather than these targeted operations that are just.
And we're seeing large frogs and giraffes and all type of silly looking animals. We're also seeing people with firearms, people with cars that they're using as weapons. This is not normal activity, not for a protest. Roll it.
Focused on intelligence. They're wearing masks, and I know they say they wear masks because they're worried they're going to be doxxed. They're worried for themselves. They're wearing riot gear. They're wearing what looks like military gear, and all of that. And Elliot Williams, I'll let you speak to this, is different from what has happened in the past for these targeted operations.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here, and I think, to pick up on Alex's point, yes, the president ran on running the largest deportation effort in history with an agency that wasn't equipped to run the largest deportation effort in history. So by way of example, when I was at ICE, I was there for about
We're going to take it right over to Bill Maher. That's odd that this pulls up. We're going to listen to 2 minutes and 1 second of Bill Maher and how he predicts the backlash in Minnesota, Minneapolis. Roll it.
So I have a suggestion for the people in Minneapolis. How about this? It's so cold in this country. So I have a suggestion for the people in Minneapolis. How about this? It's so cold in this country, the storm that happened. How about it's too cold to fight, and use that as an excuse, face-saving excuse for everybody just to go home. ICE, you made your point. You made your point.
Oh, yeah. He has John Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy, on this episode of After Hours, or his episode. Bill Maher is somewhere in the middle, and he's stuck in the middle, but the left doesn't accept him. We say Red Pill Bill's fine over here on the right, but he can't pick a side. But John Kennedy will bring the common sense. Roll it.
Okay, we got to do something with too many illegals. Yes, that happened under Biden. But these images, like I said, really ugly. I mean, when I think of some of these things that we've seen, there's some of them. The guy out in his underwear, no clothes on in the cold, the kid, this pepper spray in the face, the lady disabled.
Okay, so this is what the media is showing people right here. So this house, they had a warrant for this home where he had criminal activity going on. This, of course, was an agitator. He was left alone by his family, his father, and his mom. What are we supposed to do when a child's left alone and he's only 6 years old? Here is another person who tried to resist arrest. Or she was given many opportunities. I've seen this video. She was given many opportunities to go ahead and go about her way, drive off, back up, go another way, find another direction, find somewhere else to go today because it's an ICE raid. And they're trying to catch the criminals.
The lady being pulled out of her car. John, I'm just going to say to you, I'm not trying to pick a fight right away, but I did my...
So he is going to pick a fight. That's not smart.
My prediction is this stuff, your party is going to get the dog shit kicked out of you in the midterms.
Because we're trying to protect this. Okay, how about this then? How about we just forget about the citizens? We just let the criminals valiantly go ahead and parade and have a fantastic Valentine in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and wherever they want. Chicago, Utah, California. Let Gavin Newsom go front crazy. Minneapolis can keep Gavin Newsom and I'm sorry, they can keep Walz and Fry. And they can have Gavin Newsom too. They can have a bilateral city. They're all crazy.
Come on. Because this is not what people voted for, and they're going to hold the party as responsible as they should.
This is exactly what I voted for. I don't know about you guys, but please comment down in the comment section and let me know. But this is exactly what I voted for. You guys? Anybody else? I voted for this right here.
Well, I'm going to give you my take on it, Bill. You don't have to be Einstein's cousin or a senior at Caltech to know that illegal immigration is illegal.
He's smarter than Bill Maher already.
Duh. Those of us who believe that no one is above the law have to concede that folks who are in our country illegally are not above the law either. I support enforcing our immigration laws. Now, how you enforce them matters.
That's the key.
You have to do it.
It's the how.
That is true. But what happens when you have violent criminals trying to attack you back when you're just trying to do your job? What happens then?
You have to do it in accordance with due process, equal protection, and Terry v. Ohio. Reasonable suspicion.
Well, if that was John Kennedy with the truth, then I understand where he's coming from. He's an attorney, and I get it. But when you have violence going on in the city and you're about to be attacked or maybe even shot, we're going to watch the video and see what CNN has to say about it. I say protect yourself so you can get home back to your family. If you're not acting irrationally and out of control, then you may be safe during an ICE raid. I say support the ICE agents, 100%. Why wouldn't you? Let's get into the next video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my favorite videos because I don't understand why people are against Kristi Noem when she speaks the truth. She's a truth teller and only a truth teller. Sometimes she may speak out of context, but all in all, she's the best. Roll it.
The US administration is defending the killing of the US citizen Alex Pretty by Border Patrol officers. The Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says the protester was committing an act of domestic terrorism.
I don't know of any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign.
Is that peaceful? Is having a firearm, even if you can have a firearm on you legally, that's fine. You're not the police in this situation. You're not a federal ICE agent. You are there to hold up signs and say whatever they tell you to say. And anyway, why are you out there? It's cold. Roll it.
It's a violent riot when you have someone showing up with weapons and are using them to assault law enforcement officers.
Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino says the federal agents were the victims. He suggests the protester may have been acting on a violent rhetoric or using a violent rhetoric against the federal agents.
Was he simply walking by and just happened to walk into a law enforcement situation and try to direct traffic and stand in the middle of the road?
I'll say no, Alex, for 500.
And then assault, delay, and obstruct law enforcement? Or was he there for a reason? Did he fall victim to that violent and heated rhetoric? They're trying to portray Border Patrol agents and ICE agents as Gestapo, Nazi, and many other words.
100%. The problem, once again, is the leadership. The video after video after video we go through and we see that in Minneapolis it's chaotic. They have policemen. So why don't the police interact and get involved? There's no help for the ICE agents. It's just them. So in order for them to defend themselves in a wild, chaotic situation such as Minneapolis, Minnesota, they must take necessary precautions. Let's get into the next video. All right. So this video also is one of my favorite videos. This is not John Kennedy. This is not anything but, well, Scott Jennings. And Scott Jennings is back once again with the truth. As always. We're going to get into it. I'm not going to stop to analyze what the left is going through. We do this in every video. It's hot and I'm mad, upset that I can't get my CapCut to work. So I'm going live under the guise of me not being able to produce or do any activity today. And I would hate to leave you guys without a video. I feel bad when I do that. I can ramble and ramble and ramble on forever, but I won't. I'm going to give you guys the next video. This is the actual footage. Roll it.
I'll be on the screen right away. Thank you. Just give me a second.
Yeah, they're insane. Where's ICE going to go?
Put me on. All right, good morning, everyone. I am JT Siskowski reporting on the south side of Minneapolis for Status Quo in conjunction with the Midas Touch Network. We are near the intersection of 26th Street and Nicolay here on Minneapolis' south side.
Okay. I don't know why my stream just did that. I do apologize. But hello, hi everyone. We're gonna get into this next video. 1 second. Hold on. This is, you can hear him in the background probably. We're gonna play the video from the beginning. I do apologize about that. Like I said before, I hate when I have to go live unprepared, but I have to go live so I don't miss the opportunity to bring you guys information that you need to know in the Jay Bravado show. All right, so let's go ahead and roll this clip. Let's get into it. Once again, I apologize. This video is called HFS. I can't say any word but holy. You know what I mean? Get into this video. All right. And there we are. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He used to be a gamer, but now he's a YouTube content creator, and he does politics sometimes. And this is great. I love it.
And, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, it can't even see what the fuck happened.
Yeah, he has horrible language.
Like, straight up. Like, I mean, how does anybody...
Okay, so let's run it back.
We need more information. Yeah, we need more information about this before you can just go and immediately pop off about it. But anyway, so this is a video of what happened, right? So... I guess this is the guy right here. I want to watch the original video that came out first, and then we'll go back. We'll work backwards from that. Okay. So obviously, yes, there's more to it than this, but this is the first video that was released that at least I saw.
All right, roll it. Roll the video.
So this is the guy. And, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, it can't even see what the fuck happened. Like, yeah, straight up. Like, I mean, how does anybody know what happened? I mean, really, like, yeah. He got shot? Yeah, I've got a feeling that probably happened. But, like, besides that...
That definitely happened. I don't know what happened either. I can't see the video. Can you guys see what happened? Does anybody have a video or better footage of this video? Please send it to me at thejbravadoshow@gmail.com. Or you can put it down in the comment section. Share the link.
Look towards his feet. I mean, I can't, guys, I don't think that my vision is bad. You can't see shit in this video. You can't see shit in this. So,
well, obviously someone saw it, and we're going to get into the people who actually did see this video and who does know what's going on. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. This is Fox News. I'm going to make sure I'm not missing anything that I want to show you guys. Also, like I said, this is an M2 live. I can't stand when I have to do something like this. It's so reckless and out of sort and unorganized, but we're doing it. And I thank you guys for staying and watching the Jay Bravado show so I can bring you more information on this incident. This is the ICE shooting. This thing is live. It's been live since yesterday. So I guess they'll keep repeating the same shots, so on and so forth. Let's get back to CNN and see what CNN has to say about this. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to make any sense at all. Let's watch it.
CNN's Tom Foreman is here to walk us through what we're hearing from federal officials, but also what the videos show, including the new videos, because what they are saying and what the videos are showing are not always the same thing.
Brace yourselves. This is CNN.
Tom.
Yeah, very much. I want to start with the very first statement made by the Trump administration in the aftermath of the shooting. It was a tweet by the Department of Homeland Security showing a firearm on what appears to be the seat of a car And the tweet reads, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun, seen here. You see the picture behind it there. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Now we have this new...
So this is coming from someone who knows what's going on. They saw the weapon. This is in response to the video that we just watched from Ansan Gold, the guy who was talking about we need more information. Well, here's more information. This is more information on what actually happened. Surprisingly, it's on CNN. Roll it.
Angle of the video that's just been cleared by CNN, and it shows the lead up to this deadly altercation. This is what I want you to take a look at. Of course, this is disturbing video. Let's take some time though and watch this together. Some things to note. As it begins, you see Pretty out there in the middle of the street. He shows up right in this area here. You start seeing him, and he is at one point using his camera.
He's being an agitator. Come on, guys. The leadership needs to step out, get on the podium, and let people know. It's not good to get into ICE agents' faces with any objects, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a car, whether it's a pretend gun. It's not safe. They're doing their job.
There he is, right there, and he's pointing to traffic, sort of waving traffic through. At some moment here, you see...
So they're going to try to pretend like he was just an innocent traffic director? Not at all. He had a gun, and we saw it, so...
See that law enforcement approaches him, and he backs away as they start moving up on him. He is not trying to move toward them. He's backing away. Then you're going to see one of these officers approach a woman near him and really forcefully shove her to the ground right there. And Pretty starts rushing over toward her. Now, they're both getting pepper sprayed at this point. He gets grabbed, and he's taken over to the ground here. I'll point out this is
called impeding. When you're agitating the ICE agents, and I don't know what protest involves agitation, but when you choose to agitate and you're impeding an arrest or detainment, this can, and 9 times out of 10 will happen. Roll it.
About 15 seconds from when officers turned to him, he's now on the ground. They are on top of him. The officers are all around. He does not appear to have a weapon in his hand. He doesn't brandish anything. He doesn't seem to do anything. And then all of a sudden you see one agent in the middle there. Look, he turns away, and that's when the shooting begins. One shot followed by, in our analysis, 9 other shots there. We heard from Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino. He was asked at what point Pretty brandished a weapon in all of this. This was his answer.
Ali, this situation, again, is evolving. This situation is under investigation. Those facts will come to light.
This is important because, an important detail, because concealed carry is legal. We know from local officials Pretty had a permit to carry a weapon. And law enforcement analysts here on CNN have raised questions as to why the picture of this gun that DHS shared online was shown on the seat of a car.
Well, that's more information. We might need a little bit more information, but so far, the guy had a gun, and the ICE agent acted in self-defense. Once again, please do not come out to a peaceful protest violently.
And not in the scene where Pretty was shot. And we now have an answer. CNN analysis shows, if you watch all those videos carefully, you see a federal agent right there who appears to be removing a gun. This is very critical to remember. That piece of video you're seeing right there is happening about a second, or maybe slightly less than a second, before the shooting begins.
And that would justify the shooting. If there was a gun on scene, the ICE agent felt threatened. He felt like his life was in danger, and he had to act quickly. Or it could have been him and anyone else. Roll it.
Now, it is just video. We have to look at it. There will be a lot of questions here, but that's the reason people say you have to have a truly impartial and fair investigation here, because if he removed the gun before all this shooting broke out, then why is this man now dead? It's really quite a remarkable series of events all coming together here, but almost all of them, Aaron, contradict the story that came out of the Trump administration early on today.
And let's go now to our senior law enforcement analyst, Andrew McCabe, also the former deputy director of the FBI. So, Director McCabe, what do you see in all of this so far from the information that we have, from the video you've watched, from the responses we've gotten from DHS and from Mr. Bavino?
Well, I mean, obviously, Aaron, at the core of it, you have an unbelievable tragedy where it appears that a potentially unarmed person was essentially assassinated by horrible law enforcement.
When you use words like potentially and essentially, you might as use words like maybe, if, and, or possibly. These people on CNN, they like to spin the narrative and make it look like nothing ever happened and minimize the biggest, most criminal activity. Roll it.
Tactics that dramatically escalated the situation. But, there are so many questions here. At the absolute core of lethal force training, in the FBI Academy, in the Academy at Glencoe, Georgia, where DHS agents, ICE agents, Border Patrol folks go through, you are taught from the very beginning that if you use your weapon, you have to be able to, after the fact, articulate exactly why you perceived an imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. And so the question now is, when are we going to hear that articulation? What is the reason that these officers, or a single officer, we don't know how many people shot, believed they were in imminent threat of death by this person who was, by every video we've seen, on the ground?
So I guess he has not heard the fact that if you see a gun, pretend like they're going to use it. In this case, they did. When police feel threatened, they have to take necessary precaution in order to go back home to their family. I guess this guy has no idea or information or education on when the police sees weapons. When a police sees a weapon, they seize the weapon, and maybe they might use theirs. Who knows what's going on the other side of that guy's pocket, or the other side of that guy's book bag, or who knows who else is with him? We don't know. Roll it.
Ground with anywhere from 4 to 5 officers on top of him at the same time. Nowhere in these videos do you see a weapon in this man's hand. And so while
we definitely saw a weapon, this guy's delusional. Okay, all right. So he's a left-wing leaning lunatic. I can't even. He's a left-wing leaning lunatic. That's what he is. Roll it.
While Commander Bavino's statement was very artfully written, yes, they encountered someone who had a gun. It is not clear that that man ever presented the gun, brandished the gun, pointed the gun at anyone, threatened to.
If the police sees a firearm, they must pretend. For you, maybe you watch the Disney Channel, they must make like a fairy tale and pretend that he's going to use it, and with deadly force.
To harm any of these officers. So what's the excuse for having to use lethal force here? We have no idea.
No, and in fact, they were quick to, post a picture of the gun, which they removed from the crime scene. They put in a car. They said, look at these extra magazines. That there was some deplorable act that he was prepared to commit. But they've never actually even said that he did brandish it. And obviously, there's no video evidence that he did any such thing. He did have a permit to carry it. He was clearly there. We hear all the whistles on that one video, right? The whistles people do when they're warning of ICE. He was there trying to protect, it appears, a woman that they pushed over. So
I'm still trying to figure out, why would you have a gun at a peaceful protest? The ICE agents aren't coming for you to take you into custody unless you're an illegal alien, a violent criminal, rapist. Who knows? But what are you protecting when they're protecting you?
Dr. McCabe, I'm just curious, though, if there is no investigation, which at this point doesn't appear that there are going to be any indications they're saying case closed and sealed, right? And they don't give access to the state for an investigation, which, again, that would be surprising if they did. They didn't do it with Renee Nicole Good. then what happens here?
Nothing. Nothing happens here. Just like nothing happened after the killing of Renee Good. In fact, so what we have seen, Aaron, is now we have a very common set of circumstances. We know what the game plan is.
This is why I don't watch CNN. He said nothing happened. Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. They watched the video over and over and over again, and numerous amounts of people on a federal level made the decision that she used her vehicle as a weapon, injuring the cop or the ICE agent, and he fatally shot her in self-defense. Roll it. I need some water.
For the White House and DHS. Immediately after the event, they go to the media and they put out a version of events that paints the victim as a domestic terrorist. It's happened to Renee Good. They then said Renee Good's wife was also a domestic terrorist, which of course neither of them are. And now immediately they say the same thing about this man. And so that's absolutely contrary to any effort to stage a legitimate investigation. You would never have high-ranking officials from the agency involved going out to the public prejudging it, but that's what's happened in every one of these cases. In the Renee Good case, you actually had the Deputy Attorney General of the United States of America came out on social media, a day after the event and said there will be no investigation, there was no wrongdoing, there's nothing to investigate here. Essentially offered him a pardon.
Right. We have the evidence. Now we have cameras all over the place, not just CCTV, but we have cell phones, iPhones, Androids, even personal body cams. If you don't think someone has the footage, you don't live in 2026. Roll it.
From any accountability for this. And I can tell you that the other officers on the ground in Minneapolis, in Maine, in Chicago, wherever they may be deployed, they hear this loud and clear. And the signal they get is, do whatever you want. There will be no accountability. You can be as violent as you want. You can provoke as many conflicts as you want, as we've seen happen in this case. And there will be no accountability. And
self-defense.
People should be very, very concerned about that. Anytime there's a law enforcement shooting of any type, there should be a fair, unbiased investigation. That is not happening here.
Well, I mean, I think on the basis of it too, and you talk.
That's not true. He's giving false information. There is a very balanced and extremely balanced outcome. We saw the footage ourselves. Everyone.
Talk about the lack of training and professionalism that may have been on display here. When you're surrounded by that many people, right? I mean, when regular people get put into a scrum, you can understand all of the not knowing what's going on, right? But these aren't regular people. These are supposed to be trained law enforcement who know exactly what they're doing in situations like this, right? But that's not what we saw. So,
not at all.
Yeah. So then, I mean, is it possible then that we would look, in the case of Renee Nicole Good, we know the name of the individual who shot her. We know they chose not to do an investigation to find out exactly what happened, right? But we know. But in this case, we may never actually even know because it's unclear in that scrum who shot or how many people shot. The only thing we know for sure is that Alex Priddy, who was killed, was not one of the people who shot.
That's absolutely right. And there's no indication that we'll ever get to the bottom of this. Because, as I've said, the administration has proven in all prior events that they are perfectly comfortable going out and deliberately misleading the public as to what's happening on the ground in Minneapolis, convicting people for domestic terrorism before they've ever been.
Speaking of misleading people, I want to go ahead and get over to Tim Walz. Tim Walz has actively been out here going against the government, going against our president, going against the words and the protection for the people in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The governor doesn't want protection for his own people. He would rather have fraud, the layering censor, daycares that are accumulating funds that don't exist. Well, at least the kids don't exist there. That's what Tim Walz is fond of. He loves that. If anyone loves it, it would be Tim Walz out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's go ahead and play the video where Tim Walz he's out of his mind. Tim Walz now is going to release the National Guard in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Roll it. Okay, I said roll it. And we still didn't roll it. You want to know why we didn't roll it? I said before that we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Jay Ravato Show. And do we have a show for you today? Of course we do. I'm live. I wanted to do a video, edited, organized, and everything for you guys, but it's not working for me. So we're going to go ahead and do this live video impromptu. It's just live. And you know what happens when things are live. We have hiccups. However,
use this as an opportunity to stress.
Let's start from the beginning.
About
Ernesto with the New York Times. Have you activated the National Guard? I noted that Sheriff Witt has requested for additional assistance. Can you tell us whether they're going to be playing a role in keeping the peace?
Yeah. Yes, the answer is yes, we have, as we said last week, and we staged those troops. I'll have General Menke talk about where they're at, and again, use this as an opportunity to stress to Minnesotans the frustration you have, and as you saw this, they killed a man, created chaos, pushed down protesters, threw gas indiscriminately, and then left the scene, and then we're left to clean up. I understand the anger. I understand trying to...
This is the part, that's the podium, those are the people. She's supposed to be signing different words. And I'll tell you how they're supposed to sound. There's a cop there. This is what's supposed to happen here at the podium with Tim Walz as the governor. Citizens of Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm going to need you to stop violently attacking our federal agents in the streets because they're only out there to protect you. They're getting rid of the violent criminals, the drug addicts, and the drug dealers. They're sending them back to their home because they're here illegally. Thank you for your time, and God bless America. Maybe I should write that and send it to him because he's saying the wrong things. Roll it.
Who were the law enforcement on the scene when you got there after a man was killed is difficult for the folks who are out there. But I can't stress enough, our goal, and I'll have General Menke talk about what the role of these Guard troops are in conjunction with incredible work from the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, from mutual aid across, and of course the State Patrol, of trying to get to the point where what we're saying is we can handle this and Minnesotans can express their First Amendment rights and have our folks on the streets and get these people out of here. And so, John, if you want to talk a little bit, but the answer is yes, there's activated. He can talk to you about numbers.
To be clear, Governor, activated different than having them staged.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're staged or they're activated. Either way, he's going to war with common sense. The whole point of this video is about common sense, and Minneapolis, Minnesota is lacking that because their leaders are lacking common sense also. They have the sheriff there, they have the sign language lady, and they have this guy. He should tell Tim Walz that he's not doing it because he's with the USA, and he's for the citizens. Anyway, this has been a walk and a listen and look inside of idiocracy. I wanted to bring you more common sense, and I will. Until next time, please love your neighbors. I'm going to edit this video. And as always, I love you. And you know I do. Stay tuned.